thank you all for coming out today. All right, we have a lot of information for you today. We have a PowerPoint presentation. For the slides that have a lot of information, you may want to take a picture of it and refer to it later. Today we have many housing professionals. We have lenders, we have realtors, and other housing advocates here to present information to you. Staff is also here. My name is Carolyn Francis Royer. I'm the housing manager here in the city of Tamarack. I also have with me Shakivia, our housing coordinator, and we also have Carol, our administrative specialist, and Colette Tibby, our support. All right. Carol, can you advance to the next slide for me? Thank you. So for all who are thinking that this is the 8-hour class, it's not. We're only here for 2 hours today. Sometimes folks get this confused with the 8-hour workshop that's required to participate in our program. So again, I want to welcome you on behalf of Mayor Gomez and the entire City Commission. We thank you for taking the time to come out today to hear about Tamarack's program for 2025. If you haven't yet signed in, please do so as soon as you get the opportunity so we know who is here. Also, please silence your cell phones. Our first presenter is going to be a representative from HOPE, Ms. Charmaine. She's going to talk to us about our fair housing initiatives that we've taken on here in the city of Tamarack. Charmaine?
Good afternoon, everybody. Is it working?
Yeah, it's working.
Alrighty, so again, my name is Charmaine Williams. I work with an organization called HOPE Inc. We are a nonprofit fair housing center, and our organization is in existence because housing discrimination is still, unfortunately, alive and well today. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about who we are and what we do, and then we will get into what the Fair Housing Act is, what it covers, and what your rights are under those laws. So we've been in business, and by we I mean HOPE, since 1988. We have 2 offices, one in Dade and one in Broward County, and it's our mission to fight housing discrimination in both of those counties and also to ensure equal opportunities throughout the state of Florida. Now, we operate on what we call our 3-tier system. So the first tier is education and outreach. So this is what this would classify as. Our second tier is intake and counseling. And what that means is that if someone feels that they have been discriminated against, what they would do is they would call our office and we would do an intake. A lot of times, though, we get calls that are more landlord-tenant related. The landlord won't fix my sink, the AC is not working, there's a pest problem and they won't pay for pest control. And those are situations that we cannot assist with in our organization. We're not attorneys in our office, so we can't offer legal advice to those who need it, but we will get you on to someone who can. Now, there are times that we do get calls that sound like there might be something discriminatory happening. And in those cases, when we can, we do what's called testing. So testing is basically mystery shopping, where we send out folks who match the profile of the person who called, and then we send out other folks who are the complete opposite of that profile. And then based on the information that we get back in their reports, that will let us know if there's something discriminatory going on. And if it is discrimination, that leads us to our 3rd tier, which is enforcement. We feel that if housing providers are violating the law, they should be held accountable for their actions. So that's just a little bit about our organization and how we work. Now, the Fair Housing Act was signed into place in 1968 by President Lyndon Johnson after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The Fair Housing Act basically gives all of us our right to choose where we want to live. The only thing with that is that we need to be able to afford where we want to live, which is kind of hard right now because housing is really expensive. But that's a whole nother topic, and we don't have time to talk about that today. So the Fair Housing Act prohibits discrimination in housing-related transactions, such as sales, rentals, lending, insurance, and advertising, based on certain protected classes. Those protected classes include race, color, national origin, sex, religion, familial status, and disability. So those are the 7 federal reasons that folks cannot be denied housing or treated unfairly in housing. Now, most states have statewide protection. State of Florida is no different. We have HIV status and pregnancy as our 2 statewide protections, although those can technically fall under disability and familial status. Now, Dade and Broward County have what we call local protections, so these would be covered county-wide. Common ones between both counties are age, being a victim of domestic violence, gender expression or identity, sexual orientation, lawful source of income. Those are all of the common ones. So on top of all of those that I just mentioned, Broward also has political affiliation, so it doesn't matter who you vote for, veteran or service member status, and then victims of human trafficking. All of these are reasons, again, that you cannot be denied housing or treated unfairly in housing. Now, we have a new administration, which is another conversation for another day because we don't have that kind of time, but they are not recognizing any other, I guess, gender. They're only recognizing 2 genders. So our local protections have gender expression or identity and sexual orientation. Right now, they are still protections and still reasons that you cannot be denied housing, but moving forward, I'm not sure what is going to change. So we just want to make sure that you guys are aware of the protections that we have now and that things may change moving forward in the future, okay? Now, the Federal Fair Housing Act, covers quite a bit, but it doesn't cover everything. So what it won't cover would be private owners that are selling or renting their property without the use of a realtor. They have less than 4 units and there is no advertising. And advertising are signs outside their home that say for sale or for rent, flyers posted around the neighborhood. It doesn't just have to be in the papers and it doesn't just have to be online. So wherever the public can see it, that's advertising. Now, what else it doesn't cover would be private organizations or religious organizations that has housing for their members only. So for example, you would have a church that owns a convent. The convent's not going to fall under the Federal Fair Housing Act because that's housing for their members only. So I'm hoping that this is making sense. I don't know if we have time at the end for questions, but we'll figure that out later. Now, I've given you all of the reasons that you cannot be denied housing. So the federal protections, statewide protections, and the localized protections. But there are reasons that a landlord or a lender can deny you either your loan for your mortgage or being able to rent that apartment. It's business criteria is what they're supposed to be looking at, okay? So we want to know that, again, there's a difference between discrimination and disqualification. So the first lawful reason that you can be denied housing is your credit score, which makes sense. We're a very credit-driven country. They check credit for practically everything. I'm surprised they didn't check your credit to come to class today, but that's another thing, right? So if your credit score, if you do not meet the minimum credit score requirements, you can lawfully be denied the housing. All right, I like to give the example that, if you know your credit score is a 400, I don't suggest you, George Jefferson, walk into the bank and be like, hey, I'd like an application for a loan for a mortgage. You'll get the application, they'll let you fill it out, but when they see that your credit's 400, they're gonna tell you, unfortunately, they're unable to help you at that time, okay? So you wanna make sure that you meet the minimum credit score requirements. The second reason that you can lawfully be denied housing is your income. Now, not your lawful source of income, which is a protection within Dade and Broward County, but how much money you make. So I want you all to always remember that you have the right to choose where you want to live. You just need to be able to afford it. So if you don't meet the minimum income requirements, you can be denied as well. Third reason you can lawfully be denied housing is criminal background. Usually lenders don't check your criminal history, but for a purchase, an association will, whether it's a condo association or a homeowners association. Every organization is different. It's not a standard 2-year background check, but they need to do the same amount for every applicant that walks through their door. So if Association A is 2 years and Association B is 4, Association A needs to do 2 years for everybody. Now, we do not suggest that you walk in and you're like, hey, how far do you go back in criminal history, before I apply here? Because then, woo, red flags, right? And they might want to do a longer background check on you. But if you feel that because of one of those protections I mentioned earlier, that they're doing an extensive background check on you, you can definitely call Hope's office, and we will definitely work with you to see what's going on. The fourth reason you can lawfully be denied housing is history of evictions, which is pretty self-explanatory, mainly for rentals. A history of evictions on your credit report shows either non-payment of rent or consistent lease violations. That's a reason you can be denied as well. And then the last reason is previous residential reference check, or more simply put, residential references. So just like a potential employer can call your previous employer to find out how you were as an employee, a potential landlord can call your previous landlord to find out how you were as a tenant. And it can't be, well, oh, I didn't like that person because every time I went in their apartment, it smelled like cabbage. That's not enough of a reason. It has to be, well, they didn't pay their rent on time every month. They destroyed the unit or vandalized the property. There were noise complaints. We called the cops all the time. Those are things that are going to be in your tenant file, and those would be legitimate reasons for a potential landlord to deny you that housing, okay? There are additional protections under fair housing laws, and these are for folks with disabilities. So there's reasonable modification and there's reasonable accommodation. Modification deals with structural changes within the unit or on the property for that person with the disability. So for example, installing a grab bar in the shower, or installing a ramp from the parking lot up onto the sidewalk for a person with a wheelchair. The person requesting the modification is usually the person responsible for paying for said modification. Now, I know that we all know someone who knows someone who knows someone who's a Mr. or Miss Fix-It, and they can do anything. Now is not the time to hire that person. I mean, because you can ask me and I could put in a ramp for you. I'll get some bricks and a piece of plywood and boom, there's your ramp. Is it stable? Mm-mm. And if something were to happen, you would be held liable because you didn't get the proper person to come out and do the work. So I hope that that makes sense. Now, reasonable accommodations deal with policy changes or rules. So for example, you have condos that have assigned parking spaces. A person with a disability who perhaps has an issue breathing or maybe an issue walking wouldn't want their parking space to be way over by another building and them having to walk far to get to their building to get to their unit. So them requesting a closer assigned parking spot is an example of a reasonable accommodation request. Now, your request for your modification or your accommodation does not have to be in writing. You can verbally request these things from your landlord or your association, but I'm going to offer you a piece of advice on this beautiful, what's today? Tuesday? Yep, Tuesday afternoon. Yeah, that's the kind of year we've been having so far. I can't remember what day it is. Would be to get your stuff in writing, okay? You don't have to, but it's best practice. So we're going to get in quickly into predatory lending because I know I don't have a lot of time. Predatory lenders aren't just bankers, loan officers, and mortgage brokers. Predatory lenders can be anyone that is going to provide you with an item or a service, have you sign a contract agreeing to pay for said item or service, either in monthly installments or paid in full at a later date. So for example, contractors can be predatory lenders. They come out, they do work on your home, $10,000 to $15,000 worth of work. You don't have $10,000 to $15,000 just laying around, so you sign a contract agreeing to pay them X amount of dollars monthly. Somewhere down the line, you miss a payment, maybe two, and they now own your home. That is an example of predatory lending. But in this case, we're talking about the loan officers, the mortgage brokers, the folks that you're filling out this application with for this loan, for this mortgage. Predatory lenders are going to be very high-pressured salesmen and women. They're going to act like they're your only hope to get into a home, try and sweet talk you or fast talk you into signing documents that you haven't read or that you do not fully understand. You want to make sure from your application all the way up until your closing documents that you are reading everything. Ask questions. When you do take that 8-hour first-time home buyer workshop, make your appointment, speak to your counselor, okay? Because we want to make sure that you are not getting into a loan product that's not beneficial to you as a first-time home buyer, all right? We don't want you in, like, I don't know, jumbo loans. We have a lot of lenders here. They could explain those terms for you. I'm not the lender. But we want to make sure that you are in a loan product that is beneficial to you as a first-time home buyer. You know what your payments are going to be. The only thing that should change on you are your property taxes and your homeowner's insurance. All right? So make sure that you're doing the work and the due diligence. And if you do have questions, whatever housing counseling agency that you do go to take your workshop, they can help you with those questions. They can answer those questions for you. So always be aware, don't fall for, ooh, no credit, no problem, bad credit, no problem. Your credit is an issue. There's not a car dealership on 441 where it's you work, you drive, buy here, pay here, and then they want to give you a car from 1902 with hundreds of thousands of miles on it with like a 59% interest rate, okay? So you want to make sure that you're getting your credit to where it needs to be so that you can get the best terms and conditions for you. I want you guys to know that housing discrimination isn't always blatant and in your face. I don't want to rent to you cuz, or I don't want to sell to you cuz. It is usually discrimination with a handshake and a smile. Thank you for coming, but I just rented the unit. Or you go to see properties with your realtor and you're like, you know what? I love this one. And the seller's like, I don't want to sell my house anymore. There's way too many memories here. But it's not that they don't want to sell it anymore. They just don't want to sell it to you. And these are things that happen. So I'm seeing everybody taking pictures of our contact information. You guys have it here. I'm hoping that none of you all ever have to call my office. I'm not saying that to be mean, rude, or disrespectful. The only reason I say it is because the only time people call us is if there's something wrong. I want you guys to have a smooth home buying experience. I want you all to be treated with the respect that you deserve each and every day. But if you think it's happening, call us. Maybe we can test. If you know it's happening, definitely call us. And if anybody fell asleep during my little 10 to 15 minute presentation, you guys can check out our website, hopefhc.com. Everything that I did discuss and then some is on there. Okay, we are your advocates for your fair housing rights. And we honestly have to say that the city of Tamarack does not play when it comes to advocating for fair housing rights. They are one of the cities within Broward County that is consistent with their assistance when it comes to their residents in this city. All right, so I don't know if anybody has any questions. Are we doing questions at the end? We're doing questions at the end, so I hope you wrote them down so that way you have them to ask me later.
Thank you, Charmaine. Thank you very much. All right, so now Shakiva and I are gonna go through some details for Tamarack's program. And then after we're done, some of our guests, our lenders, will give you a short presentation, and then we'll have questions at the very end. So like she said, if you have questions, please write them down, and then you get the opportunity to ask them at the end. We'll try to go through this as quickly as possible so that we have more time for your questions. All right, so this year our program is opening a little bit later than usual. We're opening on June 2nd, which is, we try to time it with our ship year, which opens on July 1st. We're not sure what the allocation is yet for our grants, but we do have an estimate only for a ship, which is $560,000. And you know, only part of that goes to purchase assistance. The other part goes to our minor home repair program. So our first-time home buyer assistance program, in order to participate and do an application, you must be under contract, okay? The program assists eligible buyers that has not owned a property within the last 3 years. The property also has to be eligible, has to be a single-family home, townhouse, or condominium, and a minimum of 1% is required for applicant contribution. And that will be applied to the down payment at closing. Okay, and it has to be your primary residence. Our lien is for 15 years. So the maximum award has not changed since last year. It's $85,000 for very low and extremely low households, $75,000 for low income households, and $40,000 for moderate. This chart, you want to take a picture, but it's probably going to change within the next 30 days. This is 2024 numbers. HUD usually sends out in the month of April. Give me another second. Okay. So one of the things that we changed this year is our maximum purchase price. It is now $450,000. But I would like to note that most of the folks that qualify for our program do have to meet other criteria such as our ratios, our affordability ratios. And for folks at 80%, which is, you know, folks we're targeting, can't buy a house for $450,000 because it will not be affordable. So I know folks see the price and says, oh, wow, I can get almost a $500,000 house. No, for the folks that we're trying to assist, the numbers won't work because it won't be affordable. You may be in that house, but maybe 6-12 months down the line, you go into problems, foreclosure. And I'm probably sure the lenders are probably going to touch on affordability as well. Another minor change in our qualification process is with our asset requirements. If an applicant has between $25,000 to $100,000 in assets, a third of those assets must go towards the purchase or rehabilitation of the property. If folks have more than $100,000, they're not qualified for the program. Shakivia is going to go through the application process. I know at times the process can be a little tedious. Shakivia is our expert in the process in the online system, Neighborly. So she's going to walk you through that. Please pay attention. And if you have any questions, please write them down and you can ask them at the end.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shakivia Smith. I'm a housing coordinator with the city, and I'll be reviewing the application process. So the first step is for you to submit a pre-application. Like Carolyn mentioned, the program will open June 2nd, and the program is first come, first serve. The pre-application is simply your contact information. After you do that, you're going to get a certificate for the 8-hour first-time home buyer class. Then you'll find a loan officer and get a pre-approval letter. You can go to your bank or your credit union or any financial institution to get that pre-approval letter. You also need a sales contract for a property in the city of Tamarack, and you can get that from your realtor. Next, you'll email those two items, a pre-approval letter and your sales contract, to the city. The city requires a full inspection and termite inspection report. There is a difference between the 4-point inspection and the full inspection. Make sure that you are going to get a full inspection. Once you send us your pre-approval letter and your executed sales contract, we start processing your application, and the application processing time is 3 to 4 weeks. Once your application is approved, you'll receive an award letter. And our funds are wired at closing. Now, like I mentioned, the program is first come, first serve. Once we run out of funds, the program will close and you'll receive an email. This is an example of the first-time homebuyer class certificate, and it must be from a HUD certified counseling agency. Now, once you apply on June 2nd, you're going to look for down payment assistance program. This is very important because we have several programs in the housing division. So you're going to make sure that you submit an application for the down payment assistance program. This is what the pre-application looks like. Like I mentioned before, it's only your contact information. And we will not process your application until we receive the pre-approval letter from your lender, as well as an executed sales contract for property in the city of Tamarack. This just lets us know that you're interested in the program and that you're out looking for a property. Once you submit the pre-application, you'll receive a confirmation email. This is what it'll look like. This is from last year, but of course, the year will change to 2025. Oftentimes it goes into your spam, so you want to check your spam folder for this confirmation email. And this is an example of the pre-approval letter and the purchase contract. Once you submit those two documents, the pre-approval letter and the purchase contract, then we'll open up the Neighborly portal for you. And to the left-hand panel, you'll see each section that you are to complete. And once you get down to G, required documents, you'll need to upload the documents. This is a deferred loan. What that means is you must remain in the property for 15 years. Okay, there will be a lien placed on your property. That means you cannot sell, you cannot do a cash out refi or rent your property. It must remain your primary residence for 15 years. If you do decide to sell before the 15 years, then you would owe the city back. On the 14th year, the loan is forgiven by 50%. So you might as well stay in the property for another year. Okay, so next we'll hear from Marilyn Gallington from Housing Foundation of America.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Marilyn, and I love working with first-time home buyers, but sometimes you all, we are your counseling agency. We want to be with you from the beginning. What I suggest now, if you haven't been to one of the 8-hour classes yet, go ahead and go to the class, because even though you think you may be ready, there are things you're going to learn at the 8-hour class that maybe you didn't even think about. Now, Housing Foundation has worked with the city of Tamarack for years. And I'm gonna tell you, as first-time home buyers, here is some of the things that we found out that kind of hold you all up. It's the paperwork. When you all go online, work with your counselor if you don't understand what they're asking. Get all of your paperwork together before you sit down to do the application. Don't just wait till June 2nd and start fumbling around to get stuff. Get all of your paperwork together. You have a list today. You can do things ahead of time of the stuff that you're gonna need. Home buying is a stressful thing to do. And as a housing counselor, I hate for people to be disappointed. But you all have to realize, we're gonna be your coach. And the job of the coach is to tell you the plays and send you out to execute. Now, when you come to us, we are familiar with Tamarack's ratios, okay? We know the charts to use to tell you. So you come, I say to my clients, I'm here to help you reach your goals. But first, you all, we're gonna go over SMART goals, okay? Your goal may be to buy a $450,000 property, and you're making $30,000, $40,000 a year. As your housing counselor, I have to make you see you. And the way I do that, I come up with an affordability chart. I let you see it. I don't tell you no. I bring up an affordability chart. I put what the house costs. It has a little sample of what the interest rate is. We estimate taxes. And when I say estimate in Broward County, we have to estimate a reasonable amount. So don't let anyone tell you a $400,000 property has $2,000 to $3,000 a year taxes. That's gone. So when someone approves you and tells you the taxes are roughly $3,000 and you go, I can do it, then that's not realistic. And that's not true. On top of that, we have to talk about insurance. And because we've been in this home buying process for so many years, we kind of can figure out where insurance is based on if it's a new construction, old construction, what's been done to the property. We have to be educated counselors, and things change all the time. And you all have to realize that, okay? So we're going to put that 450 there, ask you how much money you have down. Even though Tamarack says you only have to contribute 1%, you need more than 1%. Okay, that's what they require you to put down. But there are other things you have to do. You have to give the lender some money for an appraisal. You have to pay for an inspection. You gotta drive around. You gotta pay a down payment on the electric bill, the water bill. You gotta buy food for the house. These days, even new construction homes are not coming up with window curtains. You gotta put something up to the windows. As your housing counsel, I'm gonna say put some sheets up there until we can do better. Okay, you can't have everything at one time. You all, my job as your housing counselor is to show you that this is a 30-year journey that you're on. Don't be trying to buy a house based on what your friend did. Don't tell me, oh, I want my dream home. If your dream home is a 1-1 condo right now, and you can go to sleep and not have nightmares on where that payment is coming tomorrow, that's your dream house. Dream a little bigger. When it goes up in value, sell it, buy something else. My job is not to fool you and tell you that it's obtainable, like Carolyn says. For most of our people that this program covers, $450 is the sky. You all don't want a $3,500 to $4,000 a month payment, okay? If you do, I'm glad to help you. I don't see that often. I would be very glad to help you. But you all, the housing counselors that are here today, like I said, we want to help you, but you all have to help us. First of all, you got to get your paperwork together. You all got to be realistic. And it's a good thing that the city now has their application online, because some of you all, when you fill out applications, You don't write clear. We don't know if it's a 3 or if it's an 8. You were eating lunch when you filled out the application, drinking coffee, it's all over it. Now they fixed it where you go online, put the kids to bed, get the application up and go page by page. It usually won't let you go to the next page until you completed that, or it will say, I'll come back. You got to come back and complete it. That's what holds a lot of our people up. You all don't want to sit down and give us what we need, okay? We will work with you, the realtors, your lender, and whomever you choose. But the number one thing is your housing counselor. I have to say, please be realistic. Let us help you get that house you want to make your home so you can enjoy it. My information is on the screen. We've been in business since 2005. We've worked with all of the cities, all of the lenders that are here. We look forward to working with you, but please don't get mad with me when I say, look at there. I'm not going to say no to you because I'm not supposed to, but I'm going to say, can you do that? And let you make the decision. We're going to look at your budget. We're going to look at all of that stuff and help you buy the home, the house that you're going to make your home. Thank you. Okay. That's all.
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, you are talking with Consolidated Credit. It's another nonprofit organization here in Broward County, and we also provide you with the help and the support that you need in this process. We are a HUD-approved agency. We've been in business for 35 years. We know what we are doing. And our social responsibility is education. We want to make sure that we help you in every step of the way. So what are the services that we provide as a Consolidated Credit? We help people with budgeting and credit counseling. Charmaine mentioned something about your credit before. And if your credit is not in a good shape right now, we need to talk. Because if you're about to start the process of buying a home, this is one of the most important financial tools that you need to have ready, okay? Then we have all the services that we provide in housing counseling, pre-purchase, post-purchase, foreclosure, rental counseling, reverse mortgage. And all our financial education is free. How we do it? We provide seminars, workshops, webinars. We go everywhere in Broward County, Tamarack. We provide online free financial education because we want you to be ready for this process. And the most important part of this is our one-on-one. So first-time home buyers. Why is it that everybody's talking about the first-time home buyers? It's the first step for you. As my coworker said, my friend said, if you're not ready yet, attend the class because you are going to start getting familiar with all the terminology that you need to know. I'm pretty sure that when you saw the slides before, you start hearing about all the paperwork that you need to have ready. It can be very stressful. At the first-time home buyer, you are going to start getting familiar with all these documents and all this information. When you finish the class and you hear your realtor or your lender talking, then you're like, oh, I know what you're talking about. Why? Because you attended that class. So first-time home buyers is the next one is going to be April 26, 2025. If you want to take a picture of that, it's free of service. Please take a note of that. Our mission is education here. We provide education to the community because we understand how difficult is this process. But we want to be part of your path We want to be there for you. We want you to achieve this goal. It's not easy, but it's not impossible. Okay? If you want to contact us, feel free to go online. You can go to consolidatedcredit.org. Again, we are a nonprofit organization. We are here to serve you. We are here to guide you in every step of the way, to answer questions, to help you with the documents. There are so many documents that you will be like, I don't even know what is this, but that's the reason why we're here for. Thank you very much. Again, my name is Sandra Tawon, and I am the Director of Housing and Community Outreach for Consolidated Credit. Are we going this way?
Oh, there we go. Hi, my name is Kathy Albamonte. I'm the Community Mortgage Specialist with Truist Bank. I work very closely with the first-time homebuyers in Broward County and Palm Beach County. We've worked closely with the City of Tamarack for many years and our housing counseling partners that are here. And I look forward to helping you on your journey to become a homeowner. Truist works with, I'm trying to look at the thing the same time I'm talking to you, I apologize. We work with all the first-time homebuyer programs. There are conventional programs, there are FHA programs, there are USDA programs. There's not one program that is good for everybody here, but we do participate in all the programs that are available for you. We do offer grants through Truist. We do work closely with our other mortgage partners that are here in the room with us, and we all kind of know what each other can and can't do, so that's a good benefit for all of us. And I think that pretty much sums it up. Yeah, just going to go through some of the programs. There we go.
Good afternoon, everyone. A lot of good information, right? Okay. Oh, y'all sound like yes. Okay. A lot of great information, right? All right. My name is Michelle Edwards-Colley, and I'm the Senior Vice President and Director of CRA for City National Bank of Florida. And I have the pleasure of working with a team of loan officers that specifically work with clients such as yourself that are first-time home buyers. So our goal is to be able to help you to purchase your first home, your first dream home, whatever that may look like for you, along with using purchase assistance through the City of Tamarack or any of the other municipalities here in Broward County and beyond. So I'm going to just share a little bit about our specific program. It's called City Smart, and it works directly with first-time homebuyers. As I mentioned, our City Smart Mortgage is designed to assist low to moderate income first-time home buyers to achieve their dream of homeownership. If you're already a homeowner, you know somebody that's a homeowner, we can also refinance under this program. So this is just some basic program details. We can go up to 97% loan to value and 105% combined loan to value. So what does that mean? In addition to our mortgage and the money that you're getting from the City of Tamarack, that could actually exceed the amount of your sales price. So if we were using $100,000 sales price and you're getting $20,000, I'm just using a number, from the City of Tamarack, and you're getting a mortgage from us for, let's say, $85,000. Now you're actually financing $105,000. So that means we can cover some of your closing costs. You do still have to have your own money. Like, I need y'all to understand that. You do still have to have some of your own money, but we will finance above the sales price of your home, okay? No private mortgage insurance is required. Anybody, just raise your hand if you know if you've heard the word PMI before. Okay, good. So PMI is private mortgage insurance that's required on some loans that protects us as a lender. So you have several lenders up here, and our goal is not to come get your house, beyond popular belief. But we want you to stay in your home, but there are programs such as FHA that has PMI to protect us as a lender. This particular program has no PMI, so that will help to keep your mortgage payment a little bit lower. We also, at City National Bank of Florida, offer up to $5,000 in down payment or closing cost assistance in addition to what you're getting from the city of Tamarack. Lastly, we do have below market interest rates. So in addition to the fact that, let's say you're doing FHA or conventional or some of the other programs, our program is, the rates are set by City National Bank. So to give you an idea, our current interest rates are around 5.875. Okay, and you see me looking at, before I go any further, I want to introduce our loan officer that covers Broward County, Lennon Deno. So you can definitely see him after if you have any questions, but anybody know what the going market interest rate is right now? It's in the 7s, right? Is that what you're hearing? 6.5? Okay, so our regular City Smart loan that's for first-time home buyers is currently at 5.875, just to give you an idea. So it's below market because we're trying to help you to be able to afford your home. Okay. This is the counties that the City Smart loan is eligible in, which includes Broward County, where we are. And then last year, if you've attended this in the past or been looking into this, we actually extended our City Smart mortgage to include a City Smart Workforce and City Smart Plus. So get your cameras out, take a picture, because this is a lot of information and I only have a few minutes and they won't invite me back next year if I go over my time. So you'll see that our maximum loan amount under City Smart will go up to $450. If you're using the Tamarack down payment assistance program, you'll see that as Shakivia and Ms. Carolyn mentioned, the maximum sales price is $450, so that aligns with that. You are required to have 1% down payment of your own funds. That can't be from a gift and it can't be from down payment assistance. So you're required to have your own funds. I call it skin in the game. You need to have money in your bank account. So right now it's tax time. If you've gotten your tax refund, there is no need to buy anything. Okay, so you tell the kids that there's nothing they can get. They don't need a new phone. They don't need to go to the Nike store. I know I got kids too, but I tell them if I'm in the middle of buying a house or we have goals for our family, and so this is where what we're gonna do. Y'all don't look at me like that. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Okay. Home buyer education is required on our City Smart loan. So that's the 8-hour class, which this is not the 8-hour class, but the 8-hour class is offered by Consolidated Credit or Housing Foundation of America. And many of us are lenders that present also at those classes. So when you take the 8-hour class, you get a HUD certificate that's good for 12 months. So as Marilyn and Sandra mentioned, now is the time to take your class. Okay, this is the largest purchase you will ever make in your life. This is not buying a car. This is buying a home. So you want to make sure that you're educated and can ask the questions that are needed. All right, let me keep going. This is just to give you an example. On our City Smart has our own income limits. This is different from the income limits of the City of Tamarack because our income limits are set by our bank regulators, and the City of Tamarack's income limits are set by HUD. So when you talk to Lennon, he'll go over what our income limits are and which program you qualify for, and then he'll also look at where you fall within City of Tamarack's guidelines. I want to just put a plug right there because it's important for you to work with a loan officer that's familiar with these programs, okay? So I know you may have somebody that you know or your friend may refer you to someone and say, I use this person for my mortgage when I got my mortgage. But if they're not familiar with these programs and they're not able to understand the ratios that the city has, the ratios that our programs have, then sometimes you'll have somebody who tells you can qualify for a lot more, and then you come to the city and the city is saying, wait a minute, this lender, the information they're giving you is incorrect. You want to make sure that you're getting correct information from somebody who truly understands all these programs. And there are many of us in the room. All right, so credit is important, but we require only a 620 credit score. We also allow for no credit. So if you have no credit score, don't go out there and get credit, okay? We will work with you to get like a letter from your landlord, what we call alternative credit. So we'll get a letter from your FPL that shows you've been paying it on time. Those are called alternative credit sources. Okay, it's a very flexible program. And I'm gonna go to my last page. I already mentioned the $5,000. The seller can also contribute up to 6% of the sales price. Not that we necessarily see that here in Broward County, just because we're kind of still in the seller's market. I don't know, realtors can share a little bit. I don't know about you guys, but in my neighborhood, homes are staying on the market a little bit longer. So hopefully, it just depends on what happens going forward, if we're going to see the market change, and if sellers are willing to assist with closing costs, then our program does allow up to 6%. If anyone in here, we've helped several clients that are in Section 8 to go from Section 8 rental voucher to the Section 8 homeownership program. We can definitely assist you with that as well. That's it for me. This is my information, but Lennon is here. I am not a loan officer, but I can definitely direct you to someone on my team, and Lennon is here, and he'll be glad to answer any additional questions. We're here after the event. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Bonnie Bonato. I'm a community lending officer with Bank of America. My NMLS number is 624-630. First of all, let me thank Carolyn, Shakivia, Nicola, and Carol for inviting me again this year. This is a fantastic program, and I see all of these faces here, and they should all be smiling because the program is truly amazing. I want to ask you all, does anybody own a car or remember? Anybody own a car? Come on, let's move a little bit. Yeah. So you've owned a car, but you remember a point in your life where you didn't, and you're like, man, I want a car. I wish I used to take the bus to college, and I used to take the bus home from college, and I see all these cars. I'm standing on the street waiting for the bus, and I said, will I ever have a car? Well, same thing with a home. And you being here provides you with a path forward. I'm really proud to be able to share with you what Bank of America's community home ownership commitment is. We have our down payment grant program, our America Grant program, and our Affordable Loan Solution program. Now, I left flyers on that table right there. Now, don't jump up, but that flyer is worth $17,500 from Bank of America to assist you with your purchase. Okay, so y'all remember, after this is over, I'll come down there, you grab a flyer, grab my card, call me, and I'll be able to help you learn more about it. But I'm going to give you just a brief overview about it. We have our Affordable Loan Solution program where you can put down as little as 3%. And we have our America Home Grant and our Down Payment Grant program. Our Down Payment Grant program will give you 3% of the purchase price, up to $10,000, the lesser of the two. So 3% of the purchase price, let's do the math in our head. If the purchase price is $300,000, we'll give you 3%, which is $9,000. So you don't get the full 10, it's 3% up to a maximum of the 10,000. If your house is $400,000, then that's 400,000 times 3% is 12,000, it's capped at 10. So we got the down payment grant piece. Everybody okay? Can I get a nod? Everybody with me? Okay, great. Thank you. So the second part is the America Home Grant program. And we will give you no haircut on this, a flat $7,500 towards rate buy down. Because we talked about rates earlier. Rates have jumped up, right? But we have these programs for you. We all have a different version of a program. They're not all similar, but many of them have a lot of similar things. The rate environment, we can't do anything about it except we can manipulate programs to support you and help you lower that rate, lower that payment. Because remember, when you lock in your rate, you're locked in typically for 30 years, right? We want it to be as low as possible. That's $7,500 you could use towards rate buy down and your non-recurring closing costs. So that's a big word. What does non-recurring closing costs mean? It means the closing costs that just happened that one time, not your taxes and your homeowners association or your insurance, things that happen over again. So if any of you have ever received a loan estimate, they say, this is what it's going to cost, $10,000, $20,000, whatever it is. This program will pay $7,500. Like I said, no haircut. Doesn't matter what the purchase price of the house is. You'll get the full boat, the whole $7,500. So Our program gives you $10,000 towards the down payment, $7,500 towards closing costs. So what do you need to do? You need to be a purchase of a primary residence. And you actually, if you own a home already, you wouldn't be get the city's program, but you could have owned a property previously in less than 3 years. You can currently own a property, and you cannot put more than 20% down. That's the cap. And there are income limits based on the property location, but it caps out at an income of $133,650. So if anybody's income right now is over $133,650, you cannot get this program. So as long as your income is under $133,650, let's talk about it. There's this little thing here. Okay, so how do we leverage all the solutions? So layering the solutions up to $17,500 in closing costs and down payment. With the grant, $7,500, the down payment assistance, $7,500, and as low as 3% down. Now, we heard about it's a soft lien and we have to pay it, or do we have to pay it back, or do we owe something? Do we have to stay there 15 years? No. As soon as you close, this is yours. That's it. We don't put a lien on your house. You could sell the house the next day. Well, you couldn't with the Tamarack money, right? Because we're all combined. But in our program, this money is yours. Okay. On the down payment, you will get a 1099. On the grant money for the closing costs and rate buy down, no 1099. So there may be a tax implication. You do have to take the 8-hour home buyer education course. So as our two partners here at Housing Foundation of America and Consolidated Credit Shared, register for the class, take it. The certificate's good for 1 year. And even my clients who've previously owned, but now are buying another house and they want to use my program because it's a primary, even they've owned, they said, wow, that was great information, and that was a lot of information. And we are nonprofit partners of these two agencies, and we help them and support them, and we really appreciate what you do. And thank you to the City of Tamarack, and thank you for all for coming. Please take my flyers when you leave, and I'll stay after if you have any questions, or if you want to make an appointment. My phone number and my email address and my website is there. So I'd love to be able to help you be homeowners. Thank you so much.
I would say that they saved the best for last, but after hearing all this, I'm not sure. I don't know if I can fill these shoes. So my name is Mario Serrato. I'm an area manager for Loan Depot. Loan Depot is the second largest lender in the US. We are the official sponsor of Major League Baseball. And if you like baseball, you'll see that the Marlins Park is Loan Depot Park. So we've been in this market for a very long time. We serve all 50 states, but we specialize in down payment assistance. The South Florida area is well known for that. I'm AVP of community lending, and so I'm involved with a lot of these nonprofit organizations, and I do most of these presentations. And the one thing I'll say after hearing all these ladies speak is that if you want a home and you have the will and the patience, you will get a home. Sometimes we run into obstacles that stop us from achieving our goals, but that's what they are. They're obstacles. If it was easy, everybody would do it. So if you have the patience and the perseverance, you definitely have a lot of professionals here that are willing to help and help you achieve that American dream. It's available for everyone. So Loan Depot, we do have several programs, but I just want to highlight this one in particular. It's called Access One Plus. Has a minimum credit score of 620. It's a $7,500 grant, extinguishable the day of closing, so it's your money. It does have some income limits, and so we can discuss that on a one-on-one basis. But what I will say is this, that Loan Depot, in addition to offering the same products or most of the same products that we have here, we pair up with the Tamarack program. We pair up with the Florida housing programs. There's a lot of programs out there. And so you don't necessarily think that you only qualify for one program. We will have a consultation with you and we will kind of pick the best program. But I'll tell you that this Tamarack program is a very nice program and it pairs up nicely with ours. And if you have a credit challenge, because oftentimes you'll go apply for a loan and you're told that your score is not good enough. So we also specialize in giving you a scenario, a what-if scenario that will help you raise your score to the minimum required for whatever goal it is that you're trying to achieve. And we'll help you get there. Sometimes it's a 1-month thing, sometimes it's a 6-month thing. But again, back to the perseverance. If you set your goal and you apply yourself, you can achieve that goal. Sometimes we'll ask you to add a cosigner, sometimes we'll ask you to pay a credit card off, but we'll definitely be on that journey with you to help you achieve that dream of home ownership. So again, my name is Mario Serrato. You have a lot of great programs here. There's no reason why anyone here cannot be a homeowner. Thanks for coming.
All right, thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming out and supporting our program. So now it's your turn. So I guess you all have written down your questions. We can start. Are the mics down there working? Okay, so whoever has questions, you can come up to this microphone. Is this one or that one? Anyone, that one. The microphone, and ask your question and let us know who your question is for. We didn't have like a mic to carry around. We didn't have one of those. No, okay, that's okay.
Okay, I have 2 questions. One is, if I want to know, is one of those courses we need to do for 8 hours is available in Spanish also? Yes? Okay. And where we can get the direction for that, is any?
If you're talking about the 8-hour class, if you go directly to the website that was on the Housing Foundation of America, approved by homeapproved.gov, you will see it. Consolidated, it's also on there. We both do Spanish classes.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's a list on our website, on City of Tamarack website. There's a list of
the course what we can make.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where you
And the
can,
second question is, all those programs are different. I know everyone is talking about different company, but I would like to know, for example, if the Bank of America offers is working with the Tamarack programs too.
Yes, it is.
yes,
Okay, so we can work with both at the same time.
right.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Hi, my question is for actually all of you. Some lenders or programs have caps for age. They won't lend to people that are like late 60s because the cutoff for the loan time is.
That is
No,
a perfect
ma'am.
example when you contact Charmaine there.
Yes.
No,
Really?
That's age discrimination. It's a
Right.
local protection within Dade and Broward.
Okay.
there's no
It-
age limit.
Yeah, they shouldn't cut you off at a certain age. I mean, if you're looking to purchase in a senior community and like you're not 62 or older, then like you can be denied because you're not the age to live within that senior community. But lenders shouldn't deny you based on the age. That's discrimination.
Okay,
Absolutely. Many of our purchasers are actually over 60. We have a lot of seniors purchasing in Tamarack.
I closed a 90-year-old last month.
Okay, because I was told that, okay, because of your age, by the time you're 70, the loan will have expired.
Ooh, you need to report that person to Charmaine.
No,
Okay,
that's wrong information.
okay. Thank you.
Hello. I'm a loan officer for a wholesale mortgage company, and I wanted to know regarding the lenders and these programs, do you have, if like we have a lot of condos in South Florida that don't meet FHA guidelines and, you know, those minimum requirements, what do you say about your programs if a client is trying to buy one of those condos?
So I'll speak for City National Bank of Florida. We have flexible condo guidelines. We do have guidelines where they have to They're supposed to have the reserves and all of that, but we can get an exception once we look at the total client profile. So we are able to get exceptions because it's our portfolio product. It's not Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. Okay, so it's our portfolio product that we keep on our books. So, but it still requires an exception, right? Y'all heard what I said. It's still an exception. So that exception still has a process that we have to go through to be able to allow it. But we do close those all the time.
Would it require a higher down payment, or would it still fall?
No, it's all the other parameters are still the same. It's just that we have to go through our condo underwriting department. So I'm going to give you an example. Let's say the condo doesn't have reserves, but that's the only parameter they're not meeting within the condo guidelines. Then we just submit that in for an exception. But let's say the condo doesn't have reserves and they have, a high delinquency ratio and a high rental ratio, then we may not make an exception on 3 different parameters that they're not meeting. Or if they have litigation. Litigation is if that condo is under some type of lawsuit. It's $1 million slip and fall, and the condo doesn't have the money to pay that if they should lose, then we may not be willing to make an exception for that. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Do we have any other questions? Oh, good.
Yes, I do. Good afternoon, everyone. So my question is, I understand that there's a merger in terms of the programs that are being provided. Now, I was a little late, so I do apologize. I hope I didn't miss this. Let's say Bank of America or one of the other banks are offering a certain amount for the down payment, and the city is also offering a certain amount based off the income category and the amount of the down payment for the house. So if, let's say the down payment is $20,000, I'm not sure how the offer goes for the city. And let's say the city's, let's say one is in the $40,000 category of what they're able to get from the city. If the bank amount is, let's say, about $7,000, probably a little clarification where that is concerned, just so I can understand. Will that additional money go towards the house itself? Payment on the house? Does that make sense?
If you're talking about the Bank of America program, it'll be 3%, but according to the city, there's limits on, or there's figures that if you have certain amount in assets, that money doesn't go counted towards your asset. So let's say you're going to put down 5% and we're giving you 3, then you'd have to come up with 2 and the city requires 1.
Okay.
Let me further clarify.
Yes.
We are allowed to layer the funds, and what that means is it's going to make your loan amount lower. So your sales, it's not that it's going to be applied to the sales price, it's more that your loan amount's going to be less, making the home more affordable for you. So the funds that all of us have to offer helps you with your down payment and your closing costs, in addition to the loan amount that you get, in addition to the funds that you get from Tamarack. And some of us we have another fund that goes up to $15,000 from Federal Home Loan Bank of Atlanta. So we layer them. I think Lennon has the record on our team of having 6 different layers down in Miami-Dade. So we will layer all the different down payment assistance programs that we can, while still meeting all those assistance programs guidelines, right? So we can't over subsidize you. So that's a key part, but that's where you meet with, and let me just say this, the gentleman asked the question, but everybody in here has a different situation. So it's important that you meet with a housing counselor like Marilyn and Sandra mentioned, and then you meet with your lender and you understand your individual situation. So we're gonna try to get you as much funds as possible to keep the payment affordable.
Okay.
So it's your payment and your loan amount that's less.
Got it.
Okay.
Got it. Thank you so much. Yeah, because my concern was, because I know that there are, for example, 2 different categories, the down payment and then otherwise. So my thought was, okay, if you're given an amount for the down payment and they're given an amount, we've covered the down payment in excess, would there be that additional money go towards the, yes?
just like you said, where's your housing counselor? We'll help you lump it together
Understand
to
that,
see
okay.
that you get as much as you can.
Gotcha.
But just to piggyback off of what Michelle said, y'all, this Broward County, it's not Miami-Dade, okay? And she was clear, you can get up to 6, but Miami rules, just remember, we are in Broward County. They do things totally different in Miami-Dade. And Lennon did those 6, which was great, but that won't happen in Broward.
Okay.
Okay?
Awesome.
Okay.
My second and last question, what if you're not necessarily as ready to purchase a house as yet? Would it be necessary to still go, because I did hear you mention about, of course, take the course and so forth.
I'm gonna tell you, sometime I've had home buyers that was ready in 6 months, but I've also had home buyers, and Michelle and I worked on it. It took this lady 6 years, but that was her stuff. She had personal stuff going on. But I would say, don't wait till the last minute. And I think the average is probably a year. But yeah, I think the average person, so it's not too early to start. Because although you might have a great job, you might have good credit as far as the number goes, but you know now they're taking stuff off of the credit report. When you come to your housing council, we're gonna kind of dig into it because the title company is gonna eventually do it. You may have some stuff out there that's not showing on your credit that we have to look at and you have to get straight before you're ready to buy. So it's more than just a couple of things. We, as your housing counselor, try to do the whole thing to let you know everything you need, not one at a time. We're gonna meet with you. We're gonna say you have to do this, 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 and this, okay? And it still may change during the year. But we're gonna stay in touch with you. You're gonna stay in touch with us. You know that old saying, I have what you want. So I'm working with all these people. You have to call me and say, Marilyn, this. I'm gonna follow up with you. But if you have an issue, you have to come to me and let me help you. Okay.
And let me just say this, by everyone in here, all of you that are interested in purchasing a home, and you took the first step to come here today, right now, you're ready. Does that make sense? Like the mere fact that you made a decision to say, I'm gonna spend my Tuesday afternoon at the City of Tamarack and learn about this program, you're taking those steps. Now, whether you're ready tomorrow to actually get pre-approved and purchase and close, or whether you're ready 6 months from now or a year from now, you're mentally preparing yourself towards homeownership. And it is a process. And like I preached last week on Ash Wednesday service, trust the process. These are all professionals ready to help you, no matter which lender that you call. Like Mario mentioned, we all have different programs. And that's where working with the housing counseling agency, they'll tell you, well, based on where you are, you should talk to Truist. Based on where you are, you should talk with Bank of America. We're not up here, and it was funny because the last question that was asked about condos, Kathy said, I'll just tell them call Michelle, right? But you have to just know that each individual lender has different programs, and the time to start is now, even if you don't believe you're ready tomorrow, okay? You took the step, you're here.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Good afternoon. I have a question for Marilyn. We signed up for the class, but we haven't received any Zoom links. Is it going to take like a week to receive, a couple of days to receive?
Usually it depends on when you sign up for the class. They usually send that link out that Friday before if it's a Saturday class. Mm-hmm. But if you haven't gotten the link, like someone said, sometime it may have gone to spam, give them a call. And the number was there, but I'll give it to you again.
Okay.
It's 954-923-5001.
954-523-923.
5001. Because you should get a confirmation, but call and be sure.
Okay, thank you. And the class is free?
Oh, the class is free.
Awesome.
Okay. All right.
Any more?
In regards to the class, is it 6 hours or 8 hours?
It's an 8-hour class, but a lot of us run it where we might do it for 6 hours or 7 hours, and your last hour is like your one-on-one, that starts your one-on-one. So you will have to do the one-on-one in order to get the certificate, because as we said, everyone is different. You're sitting in a class and we're just talking generic, but we as Housing Council wants to spend at least an hour with you talking about just you.
Okay, understood. And will there be any housing counselors at the class?
Yes, all the classes are run by a housing counselor. They are your coach that day, but they're available for the follow-up, but there will be a counselor at every class.
Okay, and then I'm a little confused. Once I do the application and the whole process, and I apologize, I think this might be for the city of Tamarack. How do I get assigned, I guess, a counselor or someone that's gonna work with me on my application? When does that part start?
Okay, once you go to the 8-hour class,
right.
Say for instance, you choose me a consolidated. If we find out you're interested in Tamarack, then we're gonna first of all, we're gonna get you approved help you get approved for a loan that you can go anywhere. But if you decide you wanna buy in Tamarack, we know Tamarack guidelines. We're gonna get you ready. So we're your counselor. And then you submit with Tamarack, and then we help follow you through with Tamarack. Okay.
Okay, all right, perfect. Thank you.
Any more questions?
Yeah, Ms.
Oh.
Marilyn, how can I get you as a counselor? How do I go about doing that, getting you as a counselor?
Okay, it's 954.
Oh, the phone, just call that phone?
923, yes.
500.
Yeah, we have several counselors.
Okay.
But if you ask for one specific, we try to be accommodating, but we all do the same thing.
Okay.
You might think, oh, Miss Marilyn mean, you might want to go to someone else.
I like mean.
All right. Okay, thank you.
Something else that I want to say, the QR code for the next class is there. Take a picture and you will be able to register for our next class. So how it works is you register, you attend the class, and after the class, a housing counselor will sit in a one-on-one with you, put an action plan together, and help you to the entire process.
Hello, I just wanted to ask, do the grants work with the VA loans or work with VA certificates?
Yes, we do that too. So whenever you get to the class, let us know what is your particular situation and we will help you with that too.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Any more questions? Any more questions before we wrap up? All right, thank you guys for coming out again, and good luck on your home ownership journey. Thank you.